I have come here, the scorching hot desert of southern Utah, to ask one simple question. Which of these two cameras, the new DJI Osmo Action 4 and the GoPro 12 Black, is best for somebody like you and I, the normal mountain bikers of our world? Oh my God! So first things first, let's talk about money, because both of these cameras start at $399. Now I know what you're thinking, that's 2023 money. They should be worth so much more than that, especially since they're such capable cameras. It's like, how are they even making money on these things? But obviously that's just the starting price. You're gonna need like a chest cam, you need a helmet cam, all those kinds of accessories to be able to go out and do the things that I do on the trails. And obviously all that's gonna rack up some money, but luckily both companies do provide bundles that you could buy directly from them that kind of set you up basically for whatever you want to do. When it comes to video resolution, the two cameras do differ slightly in this department. The GoPro can do 5.3K at 60 frames a second, whereas the DJI can do 4K at 60 frames a second. And I know all the techies out there are going to be going to the comments telling me, oh, the GoPro has better resolution, yada, yada, yada. That is true. It does go to a higher resolution. However, in today's world, very rarely are you actually using anything more than 4K, honestly. So for that matter, I don't really see that personally as that much of a big deal. I always render my videos out in 4K, but if we want to get technical, yes, the GoPro does have the upper hand here. Now, both cameras do 4K at 120 frames a second, which is honestly very, very impressive, and it just shows how far cameras have come. The footage that you get out of these things in slow motion is pretty impressive, but I gotta say, I gotta give the upper hand to the DJI. The frame just looks a little better. It looks a little more natural than the GoPro. It's hard to explain, but check out these footage. So we've all been there. We're out in the trails, we lose track of time, and the sun starts to set, leaving us with shadows all over the place, wondering if our footage is gonna come out good. Well, luckily, both of these cameras do really, really good, actually exceptionally in low light. And a lot of that has to do with the sensor size of both of these cameras. So not to get too technical, the DJI sensor is slightly larger than that in the GoPro. So generally speaking, it's gonna be performing a little bit better in low light. Now, personally, I do like the look of the DJI a little better. It looks a little more natural, whereas the GoPro seems like there's a lot of digital compensation to make up for that low light, shadows within the footage. And to me, it doesn't look that natural. So I'll let you guys be the judge of that one. Now, the field of view is something many of us don't even think about when going out with one of these cameras, but it plays a really big part in what the footage looks like. Now, to summarize it very simply, field of view is basically what the camera is able to see in front of you. So the bigger field of view means the more information there's gonna be in the footage. And in this department, if you compare both the GoPro and the DJI, you can see that the DJI does have a wider field of view. So it gives you the ability to see more around you, make the object around you look more real to depth, and it gives an overall more holistic image to what's going on around you. On top of that, if you look at the edges of the GoPro, you'll notice that there is a little bit of warping. Whereas if you look at the footage from the DJI, it seems to be a very flat plane all across, not much warping around the edges, if any at all. And I think for that reason, I do tend to prefer overall style and look of the footage from the DJI as opposed to the GoPro when you have them both in the widest setting possible. Now, for those of you who like to get technical and get color grading going, both cameras do have 10-bit color and a log setting within the camera to flatten out the image and do all that fun stuff. So just a little side note for you guys. Now, one of the coolest and most mind-blowing things that both of these cameras possess is the super awesome stabilization functions that each camera has. In the GoPro, you have the hyper smooth, and in the DJI, you have the rock steady mode. And both of those systems are absolutely mind-blowing at how well they stabilize the footage. So I honestly don't even know which one's better. I'll let you guys be the judge. I couldn't find any difference between the two of them. They both look absolutely insane. And the fact that cameras this inexpensive have that function is just, it's absolutely incredible. So what is the point of having all of this fancy technology if you can't even figure out how to use it? Well, that's where user interface is super, super important, and how easy it is to actually use these cameras. Now, luckily, both companies do an amazing job at setting up these cameras to be as easy as possible to figure out. However, I would say that the DJI does a little bit better of a job at this. If you go through the menus, it's really easy to see everything. The screen works super, super well. There isn't a whole plethora of a bunch of sub-menus and stuff like that to get you really confused. Whereas with the GoPro, it's just like a plethora of things. You're going through the menus, sub-menus, you're getting lost in there, all these different dials, you don't know what they mean, and it could be a little confusing for somebody who doesn't really understand how cameras work. So for that purpose, the average consumer, I would say DJI, but for somebody who knows a little bit more about cameras, the GoPro. So let's say there's something happened over there, you gotta pull out the cameras. Which one turns on first? The DJI does. Considerably quicker than the GoPro does, actually. And when you turn them off, the GoPro just turns off, whereas the DJI gives you a countdown, and you can actually tap on the screen and prevent it from shutting down in case you didn't want to stop the camera from turning off. The most surprising thing in my eyes about both of these cameras is the front-facing screen, those two screens that you see right there. Now, on the DJI, it is actually a touch screen, so you could do all the basic functions that you would need while out and about recording straight from that front screen. It's super convenient, and it makes it so that you don't have to go off, take the camera off of your mount, and then go to the back and fiddle around with the settings. Whereas the GoPro, surprisingly, does not have a touch screen. Yes, it does have the forward-facing screen. You can see yourself through it, but you cannot control anything in the camera with that screen. And I am genuinely very surprised that they did that, because I thought when they were gonna come out with this camera, I was certain there's no way they're not gonna put a forward-facing touch screen, but they didn't do it. So for that, I gotta say, DJI is big in my books for that. Now, continuing on with how user-friendly these cameras are, there is one feature that the DJI has that I think completely takes the cake over the GoPro. But instead of telling you, let me show you what I mean.
3, 2, 1.
So the DJI clearly won that test, and the reason for that is because it has these clip-on magnetic mounts. So you got two little tabs with the magnet right in the center, and it easily goes into place every single time. Doesn't go anywhere. I've never lost one of these things. I've been using this system for quite a while now. Never had a single issue with it, and it makes it ridiculously easy to be able to, on the fly, move it around, check your footage, change your settings, just ridiculously easy, so you're not having people wait for you on the trails and everything like that. Just so much more convenient. To be honest, after using the DJI magnetic system, the little floppy GoPro mount things just don't cut it anymore. Now, to be fair to the GoPro, there are a bunch of aftermarket attachments that you can get that make it more convenient, but just the fact that you have to unscrew it every single time, just it's kind of annoying. More so, a lot of the content we consume nowadays is on social media platforms and in portrait mode. And DJI is way ahead of the curve on this one, because if you have the case like I have here, what it allows you to do is pull the camera off, mount it vertically, just like that, and now you can produce videos for TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, all of the above, easily. Now, the GoPro can achieve a similar effect. However, here, instead of physically mounting the camera sideways, what GoPro has done is they've allowed you the ability internally in the camera, switch the aspect ratio to a 9:16. Now, this sort of achieves the same effect, but what ends up happening is it reduces the video quality of the camera and also doesn't give you as wide of a field of view. Now, check out these videos of the two cameras compared and let me know what you think. Now, one of the most important things when it comes to action cameras is the battery life, and both of these cameras just are absolutely amazing and totally excel in this category. Now, yesterday we were out in the desert filming basically all day in 90+ weather, and both cameras were able to run the whole day on just one battery. They were equally running an exact amount of footage. No matter what we were doing, both were recording at the same exact time for the same amount of duration of time, and they both survived with one battery. Now, the DJI does take the cake here over the GoPro because today there is still a little bit more, a few percentages of battery charge on the DJI as opposed to the GoPro. And also, if you want to recharge those batteries, the DJI is actually going to be quicker at charging than the GoPro will. And as a bonus, both cameras worked perfectly the entire day. I never had any glitches, no frozen screens, nothing like that. They were both completely reliable, non-stop the whole day. They did exactly what I wanted them to do, and they got the shot. Hopefully, as a mountain biker, you never fall into a deep body of water, but in case that you do, both of these cameras have you covered because they are both waterproof. Now, the GoPro can go to a depth of 10 meters underwater. However, the DJI beats it out because the DJI is able to go 18 meters underwater. So in case you get stuck in the water, DJI. Now it's time to talk about audio. Oh, geez. Now, I'm not gonna get too in depth on this, but audio is extremely important to come out with a really impactful video. And, well, let's just listen to both cameras.
Whoa. Oh. Oh. Whoa. Oh. Oh.
I don't know if I'm gonna hit the step down.
No, let's look at it. Let's just go and look at it. Let's just do this top part here. I'll be right behind you.
I don't know if I'm gonna hit the step down.
No, let's look at it. Let's just go and look at it. Let's just do this top part here. I'll be right behind you. All right, guys, this is the audio test from further away from the camera. I'm clearly still here in the desert. It's hot. It's like almost 100 degrees. I am burning up, but nonetheless, the cameras are surviving. But yeah, this is the audio test. Check it out. So what did you guys think about the audio? Did you prefer the DJI or did you prefer the GoPro? Now, personally, I think both of these cameras do an absolutely incredible job with the audio, especially considering that not too long ago, you had terrible audio with these types of cameras. So they have absolutely come light years compared to what they used to be. But I will say that the GoPro does sound a little bit more muffled. It's harder to hear objects that are further away from the camera, whereas the DJI is pretty clear when you're up close. It's pretty clear hearing people from further away. And I think in general, it does a little bit better of a job with noise reduction when it comes to wind. But honestly, I don't really know about this. I would prefer the audio from the DJI, but let me know what you guys think in the comments. And I don't know, I'll just say a tie for this one. Now, the hardest question of all, which of these cameras should you get? Well, it's tricky because both of these cameras do an impeccable job at showing us just how far technology has come, and especially at this price range. I think I made my decision. If you want some more info on the DJI Action 4, make sure to check the links in the description. Otherwise, subscribe if you have not already, and I'll catch you on the next one.